Your breakout moment could be a mistake.
Yeah.
Some of my
definitely.
best breakout moments have been failures. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the Breakout Moment. In this episode, we're doing things just a little differently. When we talk about breakout moments, we're usually focusing on what went right. But after so many conversations with business owners and operators, something else has come up again and again. The mistakes, the wrong turns, the risks we took, and the moments we thought everything had fallen apart. I know I've had a few of those. So sometimes the thing that changes your business isn't the win. It's what you learn when something goes wrong. This episode is sponsored by Steel Toe Communications, and this episode is also sponsored by Illuminate. Buddy Henley's story starts with the fear of making mistakes. But sometimes the mistakes are inevitable, and the best learning comes from taking responsibility and moving forward. We have just been chatting about all the mistakes that we have made and all the things that we have learned from those mistakes. And I kind of want to start there because like many people who come on the show, we talk about lots of breakout moments. It wasn't just one breakout moment. But I think the mistakes we make along the way is what leads to a lot of breakout moments. So I thought I would kind of kick you off with that and kind of continue the conversation there.
Well, first off, thank you for having me here, Christina. It's truly an honor to be here. So yeah, we do make a lot of mistakes, and I've made a lot myself. And as we were talking about earlier, one of the first mistakes, I was a young superintendent very early in my career, and I was very concerned about making a mistake. I thought it'd be, end my career right there. And I had one job in particular, and the layout was complicated, trying to get this right. And I was paired up with a seasoned superintendent at the job. And he was pushing me. He said, why don't you go out there and do the footings for the media center? And I'm like, because I'm scared to make a mistake, Pete. I can't figure this out. And he was a German guy, very heavy German accent. He started chuckling. And he says, just go out there and do it. And he said, if you never screw anything up in life, you've never done anything. But then he had a very serious face. He says, but if you screw it up, you got to be able to fix it. So I was like, that's so true. So I did go out there and do it. And then that's really been my motto ever since. If you don't take a risk in life, that you're never going to get anywhere. You have to make mistakes, and as long as they're not huge.
Right.
But yeah, trial and error and push things a little bit. And that's really how you're going to move forward in life.
How do you, I agree, 100%. Everything that I feel like the big lessons I've learned didn't really necessarily sometimes come out of a book. It was more so, I didn't quite do that right and have to go back, retrace my steps, redo it. And I find when I do that, I learn so much more and consequently usually don't make the mistake again. But how do you take that idea as a leader and make a space for people to feel safe within your company, make mistakes? Because I know that is something like you felt as a young superintendent. Now that you have young superintendents and people that work for you, how do you, reassure them that it's going to be okay if you make a mistake?
So I really try to reinforce them that what the end project needs to look like. I said, when we finish, it needs to look like this. I said, here's how I would do it. But if you have another way, we can try it if you have another idea, because I'm not the only one with good ideas. So they might come up with something and we try it, and I don't let them fail. Like I go out and looks like you're having trouble or something, but I really support them along the way, because it gives them better job satisfaction too. If they can take ownership in something and know that their way got us there. And sometimes it does happen where they make a mistake. And we had an incident, it was probably 20 years ago, where one of the young superintendents, I told him how to get there and he went totally deviated.
See, we almost made a mistake.
See, I almost did, absolutely, and we saved it.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
So he deviated from what I told him, and then he called me that evening very upset, and he goes, "You know what? I screwed up royally." He goes, "I didn't hit the mark that you said to hit. I'll bring back the truck. I'll turn my tools in." He thought he was fired. I was like, "Did you learn anything from this?" He goes, "Oh, absolutely." I said, "So you would never do that again, right?" He goes, "No, I won't." And now he's one of our senior superintendents 20 years later. And he reinforces the same thing to the young people he's mentoring. So we really try to be supportive of it. It has people develop. We want to have people grow with us.
For Mason Hale, it should have been perfect, but it wasn't. So many of us believe there are the correct way to do things. When the right path failed, he had to rethink his entire approach. And then there's Terry Egley. She knew that everything was figure-outable.
I think the fundraising route also sort of masks success. People will celebrate raising big rounds, and that's not really success. No. And so it can actually put you on the wrong track. There's a lot more options out there. I'd say the big lesson I've learned is that if you assume that you need a lot of money to go do things, sometimes you can find another way to achieve the same objective without cash or with other. You have a lot more at your disposal as an entrepreneur than you maybe see at first. So I was going through as a solo founder. Multiple people told me I was absolutely crazy for doing that trying to do this alone was
really.
Yes.
Interesting.
And so I found a co-founder. There's a whole story there that I won't get into, but it should have been perfect, but it wasn't. And so we did raise a small angel round. That demo day that I mentioned, we actually won the Audience Choice Award. I have a nice plaque from that. But a little more than a year later, the co-founder relationship wasn't working, and we'd burned through most of the money that we'd raised. We only had 3 months to go, and I was faced with what do I do now? And at this point, we had customers. They loved what we were doing. We weren't making that much money. We didn't have employees at that point. We had some contractors, but I had to pull the plug on that, and I stretched that 3 months of runway for 6 years up to 2017. So I basically got back into side project mode. I was doing other jobs, doing consulting gigs, not paying myself with Swimtopia.
Man, that sounds familiar to me. Yep.
Yep. And those are the things that no one understands. But by 2017, I did have a full-time employee and 3 part-time employees, but I still wasn't on the payroll. And I went to Atlanta, and there was another competing software out there that was ad-based. So it was a free product that was completely ad-supported, but was very popular in the Southeast. And I talked to the founder of that early on when I was just starting to see maybe we could work together. He wasn't really interested. But by March of 2017, I'd grown enough to where he had just passed him in terms of number of customers. He was at the same league meeting that I was at, and so we went and grabbed a beer afterwards. And he told me that his kids had graduated and weren't doing swimming anymore, and he was looking for a way to hand off his customers in some way. And at this point, I'm not even paying myself a salary, so I don't have money to go buy a company. And so my first reaction was, yeah, cool story, but what am I going to do?
Yeah, I'm not nothing right. I can do with this.
But I kept thinking about it, is there something we could do? So we were able to work out a structure where he vested stock options in my company based on the number of customers of his that converted to paying customers of mine. And that solved another risk for me, which I wasn't sure, because we charged for our product and he didn't. So right. There was a risk of how many people would switch from a free product to a paid product, and we didn't know. So that way, that structure, we shared that risk together, and it also motivated him to sort of be a salesperson for me to encourage his existing customers to move over. And that, almost doubled our customer base overnight.
Wow.
And but he had about 200 customers that were using his product. And so this would give us a way to start with 200 customers instead of 0 for that. So it's sort of a boost in 2 ways. It helped us accelerate launching a new product and also increasing the customer base. And I got to start paying myself a reasonable salary.
That's amazing. Yeah. So that was then. Fast forward to now.
Yeah, I mean, now we have 16 employees.
Wow.
And I am paying myself a reasonable, more than
a living salary.
Right. And we have customers all over the country. Actually, we have customers in 20 countries.
That's amazing.
We have customers all over the country. I love to go visit them, have a full engineering team, things like that.
What do you remind yourself on days where it gets tough? Because we all have those. I think those are the moments, we all talk about the end of it, right? We're still here, we're still in business, we're employing people, I hate to say eye roll, living the dream. The dream some days will kill you.
Right. Right.
Well, what are some of the things or that you work through that it's those tough moments that's right before things really start to push through. And even you mentioned, like, I'm sitting on my porch swing of my new house with my brand new mortgage. I don't have a job. I'm single and I got 2 kids.
Right.
Let's start a business. Let's go work somewhere else. Yeah, it's that adversity that I feel like sometimes is that moment. What do you use to kind of get yourself through?
I think that what comes to mind, honestly, I have a sign behind my desk that says everything is figure-outable.
I love that.
And it's true. Like, when things are slow, I'm like, oh gosh, which hat do I have to put on right now to, ramp things back up? What is it that I have to do to make sure that, the billings are coming in for this month? What do I have to do to make sure that this job runs smooth? I think it's just everything is figure-outable. You can't give up. You just have to plug away and figure out, how to pivot, prior to COVID, we did mostly office spaces.
And COVID changed that for you.
It did change that. But fortunately, before that, and I would love to say that this was my major brainstorm, I had somebody come to me and ask about doing a lab. And I'm like, yeah, we can do that. Little did I know what was entailed in a lab, but we figured it out. Like, it wasn't the smoothest job. We made mistakes, but we owned our mistakes and we corrected them, which enabled us to continue doing work for the person. We started getting into, some restaurant builds, minor little ones, this and that. And had that not happened and I guess been brave enough to take it on at that point in time, we wouldn't be in business today. Office spaces were, you'd know. They're starting to come back, thank God. But I don't really think I've done.
But everything has a cycle.
It does have a cycle. And, when they come back full force, we'll be ready for them because we've done them. But in the meantime, we've got the other past experience under our belt that, we love restaurants and retails and small businesses and, anything that comes our way, we're willing to tackle it. So I think that's definitely helped sustain us for the long run.
Of course, not every setback comes from a bad decision. The market changes, a company closes, a job disappears. We've all experienced some of these things. There are things in business that you just simply can't control. And our guest, Brett Snyder, has lived through this more than once. Eventually, experience with failure changes the question. It's no longer just, how do I recover when something goes wrong? It becomes, how do I lead when someone else gets something wrong? And for Brett and Jeff Schwartz, the answer to that question has become part of the company culture. Can you share a failure that you use maybe as an example or maybe even whatever you're comfortable with, something recent that you share with your team?
Yeah. I think I say to my team, and it's funny, like I had this conversation with someone the other day who was at risk of losing their job and that kind of thing. And he said, like, there's a certain amount of fear, and fear of failure and all that kind of stuff that goes with that. I was like, and I said to him, and I've said to my team, I've been at 3 companies that have closed their doors. Not because of what I've done, but like the economy, the '08 real estate crash, a
lot of people lost it on that.
A lot of people have lost their jobs, including me, multiple times. And I'm here 10 years in back of, being a partner in a company, 10 years of owning a brewery, like all those things. I think the biggest one I use is that of like, listen, this might not be here tomorrow. But only work on those things that you can control. I view the '08 economy as weather. Yeah. Right? It might happen. There's nothing I should worry about because it's not. I can't control it. I can't change it. We're gonna get ice. We're gonna get ice. I can't do anything about that. You couldn't do anything about those things. Work on what you can control because at any moment you might lose your job or And I tell them all the time, that's why you need to have a network of people. Right. Because who are you going to call? Who is your counsel? Who are you going to when that call happens that we're shutting down operations?
Where are you going to pick up the phone?
Where are you picking up the phone? So have that list, have the people around you, know who they are and be able to call. Like, because they're not going to judge you. Like that group that they're not judging you because of the weather.
No,
Right?
absolutely not.
And I'm a big believer that you fail forward. Like, like we talk about a lot, like you have to get your people, like you can't be the person who holds it up. I'd rather have you make a bad decision and then we can talk about
then wait on me.
it, then you wait. If you're waiting in real estate and construction, you're losing. You're losing, you're falling behind.
That's almost, I think, any industry sector.
Yeah. Like, because I think it's universal. Like, so we tell people, like, fail forward. Like, yes, it might be a failure. Yes, we'll have a long conversation about how you got to that decision in your own mind and like whether it was the right decision or, did you not have the right information or, however that worked. But I'd much rather have that conversation with you than we haven't done anything in 2 weeks because I couldn't decide.
How do you, because I think a lot of times what's really hard for teams is to feel comfortable with failure.
Yeah.
How do you bring that back to your team and make them feel comfortable with, okay, yeah, I know this is going to come with a conversation, but I know I'm safe to make the decision.
Yeah. I think one, saying it out loud. Like, you got to say it out loud and say, I'd rather have you fail. I'd rather have you, and then we can talk about the why. And then I think the other thing is you have to be willing to, I just had this conversation today on a completely different matter of just like, you have to be able to show your failures. Mm-hmm. Like, I think you have to be able to walk through so they understand, like, they might look at you and say, she's the owner of a business. It's been around for 13 years. Like, she's never failed. Right? Like, so are you saying enough?
I fail at something every day.
Yeah, right. But are you saying enough showing them, like, listen, I was in this situation and this was a complete failure. When I look about it, I was missing this piece of information. I was missing, like, my gut was off on this. Like, so I think you have to be able to show those vulnerabilities to your people and to your team for them to be able to know that they can take the same risk. We talk a lot about being entrepreneurial and we want our people to be entrepreneurial. Like, if you have a great business idea, we want to hear it because if that's where your passion lies or if that's like, let's do it. We'll help you set this up. Like, we'll help you launch, but don't have a failure to launch just because, you don't like, you think we might not want to hear the idea or.
We get feedback from our clients. It's on every email that goes out. Mm-hmm. And
I've seen it.
If we've dropped a ball or something, oftentimes the clients will read our fundamental of the week and remind us that we missed it. And we like that. We want our clients to help hold us accountable where we make a mistake. Another thing, speaking of mistakes, we have a mistake policy that's sort of everywhere ingrained in the company. And it's really simple and basic, and we share it with our clients all the time. Rather than try and pretend that everything we do is going to be perfect, every project is going to go swimmingly, perfectly.
That doesn't exist.
I want people to make mistakes. I want people to fail forward and learn from those mistakes.
Now, how do you encourage your team to make, we all say like create a safe space, but it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to actually do it.
I think this notion of psychological safe workspace right now is a buzzword. It's very popular.
It is.
And I think at a minimum what we do is it's posted throughout the company, it's referred to, it's talked about. I think that you need to constantly pay attention to that, and you need to constantly find and recognize examples, just like you want to positive praise, and encourage certain behaviors, how you respond, react to mistakes. One of our fundamentals also is blameless problem solving. They sort of go hand in hand, but they also can conflict a little bit. But I think
there's a difference between blame and accountability.
Right. And also part of this mistake policy is just not to deny it and don't dwell on it. A mistake has happened. We don't want to waste more time and energy worrying about what happened, the problem, who did it. But truly, and in our business, it happens regularly.
It happens in every business.
A wrong tree shows up. We make a mistake. From a near miss accident, you name it.
Behind great leaders are the amazing people who keep companies moving in the day-to-day. Aaron Shapiro and Terry Egley trust the teams that they've built. They understand that nobody has all the answers, but through the ups and downs, everyone is working towards the same goal. We all want success. You don't stop making mistakes, but you get better at recognizing them talking about them, fixing them, and helping the people around you do the same.
One thing that is important is like getting that person, like letting go of responsibility, of like trusting the people below you and like letting them take that responsibility and truly letting go, like letting people do their job and getting out of their way, which I think is a really hard thing for managers and leaders to do.
And business owners.
Yeah. Is like, you know, you want to see everything, like for someone to learn, you have to let them fail. And that's a hard thing to do because, you know, if you would have done it, you probably wouldn't have failed or not to that level. So let them, trust them, train them, and then just get out of their way.
How do you deal with the failure side of it? I think that's the thing that's the hardest for experienced operators, owners, because it's the failure means the companies fail. The company has to take a hit.
Right.
And you have to let it happen.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it's so hard.
I wish there was a better way, but I've tried to learn from other people's mistakes. It's just, when you make a mistake, you never forget it. So It's just the best way to learn. We say like in 50 years, we've made a lot of mistakes. So we're starting to get good at this.
Okay. 50 years. I always tell people, you're not hiring me because of anything other than all the mistakes I've ever made.
I like that.
So you're not making them. So you get the benefit of every mistake I have ever made. So, but no, I creating a culture around too, I think it's okay to fail is also tough.
Yeah, and then one thing we say is like bad news early is good news.
Okay.
Like if you made a mistake, let us know, and we're not gonna scold you for that. We're gonna like embrace that, and now you have a team to like work together and like fix your mistake. Where it starts to get out of hand is when you make a mistake and you hide it and you try to not, and then it snowballs into something that no one can fix.
And it's at the 11th and a half hour,
Right.
And if you'd been proactive, I always tell people time is options. If you tell me sooner, I have more options. If you wait to the very end, I am suddenly completely out of options and we're going to be in trouble.
Right.
Like, I would please tell me in the beginning.
Right. So that's something as a leader to, when you get bad news, like your blood is going to boil and your natural reaction is to get upset. But you have to thank that person. Like, thank you for telling me. Thank you for coming to me. Because if you were to hear it from a client or, you know, that's a lot worse than the person coming to you with a mistake.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with that. How do you encourage your team to, you know, kind of run along with you?
Well, fortunately, I have a very versatile team who they trust me. They know that if I'm saying, look, we need to do this, that it's the right decision for us as a company and for them as employees. And they back me up. I think they have the same mentality. I've built a strong enough team that they, you know, agree with that everything's figure outable. You can never be afraid to ask questions. You know, I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. So you bring in people around you who know more. You know, for the lab, I hired some subcontractors who knew what they were doing.
The lab.
You know, I brought in, you know, the best of the best that I had and asked all the questions in the world. Like, wait, how does this work? What are we supposed to do here? These kind of things that enabled us to do it. And I think just building a team that can see your vision and participate in it is extremely helpful to scaling.
I agree with you on that. Being able to articulate that vision.
Right.
You know, yeah, sometimes I don't have it. I think the other thing too, just being clear, like, I don't have it all figured out. I'm never going to have it all figured out.
Right. Right. We're going to wing it.
We're going to wing it. It's going to be fun.
Right. We're going to
order
figure
pizza.
It out. Exactly.
We're going to make mistakes. You know, I've mentioned here in the office many, many times, we don't do heart surgery. Just keep that in mind. No one's going to die.
Oh, I use that a lot.
No one, it's everything's, to your point, everything is figure outable. And you know what? So what if you make a mistake? We made a mistake. That means I learned something.
Exactly.
So
if you don't make mistakes, you're not learning. That's for sure. Boy, have I learned a lot through the years.
We've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. I think it's just part of it. You have to be brave enough to make the mistakes, though.
Yes, you do.
Failure brings out good results in the end sometimes. So I don't know if failure is the right word. Mistakes bring out good results in the end.
Failure's a wonderful teacher.
It definitely will teach you lots of things.
Absolutely. This episode is sponsored by Steel Toe Communications. Steel Toe Communications builds marketing from the field up, using real projects, real crews, and real results. They help construction owners attract the right people, tighten up their messaging, and build long-term trust with marketing that reflects how their company actually operates, not something pulled from a template. And this episode is also sponsored by Illuminate. Illuminate empowers businesses with AI-driven marketing, revenue operations, and CRM implementation and training to drive sales growth and strengthen customer engagement. If your business is navigating the messy middle and you're ready to grow with purpose, with a partner that understands B2B business marketing and operations, visit illuminate.com to connect.